Hello, this is Dr. Lori. Welcome to this introduction to Excel as used as statistical software. In this introduction, I want to point out some of the things that are the same about Excel and SPSS and some of the things that may be a little bit different. So first of all, Excel is set up very similar to the SPSS data editor that you're familiar with seeing. Basically, each row represents a person, each column represents a variable, and then each cell represents a value of that variable for that person. And you'll see over here on the left-hand side, they're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, blah, 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 all the way through however many you would normally have. So, very similar there. There are some distinct differences. One of the things that you'll notice, and as you go through the Excel tutorial that Liang Ji created, which is excellent, by the way, it's a condensed form of what you would probably find if you had to search the web yourself, but very condensed information with pictures of things as you go along the way, all the dialog boxes. There are a variety of things that he goes through in that tutorial, and one of them is how to create pie and bar charts. And the thing that you'll notice is, here's my data, that's all, just column A. But then you can put things here on the workspace, like you can put your bar graph, you can put your column graph, your pie graph right here on the work surface. That's not possible in SPSS. You wouldn't want to do it that way anyway, because those things are found in the output viewer. Another important difference is that Excel really is not designed to help catch data issues. For example, let's say I had hundreds instead of just 10, like 10 people's height here. Let's say instead I have hundreds of people's height, and a few of the cells, if you were to scroll down, are empty. Well, Excel just treats them as being included in the whole entire bunch. And it's not good at filtering out and saying, well, you have a specific number of missing cases for that particular variable, or if it's missing for two different variables and you're trying to do some kind of relationship, that it will either exclude cases list-wise or pair-wise. So Excel is not statistical software. Just keep that in mind. If you're going to use it to calculate some basic statistics, sometimes out in the field, Excel might be all you have, and you can run some basic chi-square analyses. You can create some fabulous graphs. They're very manipulable. You can change the way they look very easily. So Excel is a very useful tool to have, and sometimes it's the only tool you have. So that's why we're teaching you in P-Core about how to use Excel. Those are a couple of differences. The third difference is that very often on the row 1, you'll have the name of the variable. So instead of starting with the first person on row 1, you actually have the variable names first, and then the first person actually starts on row 2. So you have to remember that it looks here like you have 11 people in the data set, but you have to subtract out that first line. And there are times when you'll be creating graphs or doing some kind of statistics where when you select the different variables, you'll include those headers, and there are times when you will not include those headers, that you will only select just the data themselves. So just be very cognizant of that. So those are some important differences between Excel and SPSS. One of the things that I would really like to encourage you to do again is to be very hands-on. If, for example, some of these cells already have things that are filled in, instead of just saying, oh, hey, yeah, I can see what they did there, go ahead and delete it and then type it in again yourself. That memory, that learning actually happens. Eye-hand coordination, you typing things into a cell, not just copying and pasting or watching somebody else do it or watching my video and watching me do it. So your learning will be so much more magnified if you actually type things in. So the thing that I want to show you is how to calculate BMI. And so let's say we have weight and height, and we want to calculate BMI. I don't know why that's typed in there like that. Oh, it's just the name of the table. Okay, so here we have weight and height, and I'm going to put a column header here, BMI, just so that I remember, and center it. Each one of these cells has a name, so it starts with the letter and then the number. So this cell right here is C2. The height of the weight of the first person is 143 pounds, and the height of the first person is 65 inches. And we know our calculation is equal to the weight. So A2, I can just click on the cell, or I could have typed it in. I could just type A2, and it would do the exact same thing, times 703 divided by height, and then here's the taken to the second power or squared. Again, if I can't remember that and I just want to do height times height, I can do height times height like that. Nope, not that. Right there, height times height. So that's another possibility. So here I have a BMI of 23.7938462, and I probably don't have that many significant digits. If you're brand new to Excel, you can go to that cell and format the specific cell in terms of how many digits you have. I could do that here. I can increase or decrease the number of decimal points. There are a lot of shortcuts here in Excel that you can do things really easily. And the other thing is that there are a number of shortcuts that you can use keyboard commands. So I'll copy and paste once with the keyboard command. On a PC, it would be Control C for copy. On a Mac, it's Command C. So there, and you can see that now it has the dashed line around it. So it's being copied. I can paste that down here by doing either Control V on a PC or Command V on a Mac. And the thing that you'll notice is originally this says A2 times 703 divided by B2 squared. The next one shifted everything down. It knows that I want to take A3 from now the third row and divide that by the height of that person squared. So by clicking on that formula, it actually highlights the cells that are being used, and it has the colors that are being used. The second way that I can copy is actually very efficient if I'd like to copy for a whole entire column. That is just to grab onto that little square, highlight the square, and then grab onto the little square in the corner and hold my mouse down as I move down. And I'm going to go all the way to the bottom. And now it has inserted BMIs for everybody. These are actually the first 10 rows of the chip data, and so you could go there and you could see if these match up. They should. I've checked them before. So when you calculate it in SPSS or here in Excel, they should both match. The other common question that I get is, how do I get data? Let's say here are the descriptive statistics. I'm going to have to fix that. But let's say that I wanted, instead of using this sample in my data set A2 through A11 right here, let's say that I wanted to do descriptive statistics, minimum, maximum, mean, sample size, standard deviation, and so forth on a different variable. Let's say I wanted to do that for age or height or weight. A very simple way to copy and paste directly out of SPSS if you want all that data is just to click on the name of the variable, and it literally, I'm scrolling down it copies all the way to the bottom. So just clicking on height, I don't have to start at the top and then try to scroll down and keep my cursor being held all the way down to 400 and whatever. I can just ask for the whole entire variable. So I'm going to do either Control C or Command C on a PC or a Mac. And then I can go over here to my data set, and then I can do paste. It says they don't match. That's fine. Remember how I said a lot of times the actual variable name is up here at the top? Well, if I highlight that top row and click Insert, it actually gives me a new space. It just shifted everything down. 65 used to be in the top row, and so instead I can call this height, since this was the variable for height, and then whatever it is that I want to do with that, I could type in the minimum, maximum, mean, standard deviation, and sample size also. If you'd like to, say for example, make a border around it, here's an easy way. You just click on all border, and then that's maybe a little bit easier to see when you copy it over into another document or into a PowerPoint or that sort of thing. So those are some tips about how to navigate through Excel, how to type in equations. The handout is very, very helpful. There are certain things that are challenging if you don't have the online version of Microsoft Office, and so we'll give you guys a little bit of time. If you're able to make the histogram and box and whisker plots, then I would strongly encourage you to do those in your Excel practicing for this particular week. So if you have questions, we're here to help, and thank you for joining me.